My name is Hayden Baker and welcome back to Hayden Cinema. Today we're going to be talking about the entire franchise of Spider-Man. So right off the bat, before I get into ranking these 8 movies, Spider-Verse films are not going to be in this. In my opinion, it is not fair for me to rank those against the live action. One, because they'd probably smoke a lot of them, and for two, it's just cartoon and live action and it doesn't go well. This is my list and I want to have fun with this. I would like you to have fun with this and to enjoy watching this. And I would love to hear all of your rankings. This tends to be a pretty controversial list up until like the last 3. So let's talk about it. Coming in at my number 8 spot is going to be Spider-Man Homecoming. I actually went and watched this with my older brother and my younger brother. From what I can remember, we all really enjoyed this, watching it in the movies, but I don't really care for it anymore. And it's not one that I go to when I want to watch a Spider-Man movie. It's too much on Peter relying on Tony Stark, and he can't break free from that, and having that mentor, which is a fun thing to explore. Spider-Man is not a superhero that needs his hand held, and that holds the film back a lot for me, and the rewatch value is the lowest in the entire franchise. Coming in at number 7 is going to be Spider-Man Far From Home. Again, this one also has a lot of the same issues that Homecoming does. Stepped up a little bit better, and especially with the humor, it's, in my opinion, is a little better with this one. The relationship between Spider-Man and Mysterio is pretty well done, and the things that they explore with Mysterio I actually do like. Even his motivation, as cliche as it is, I still like that. And movie as a whole, and again, the characters besides Peter Parker, I don't care for. I actually do like Ned Leeds, and I like him more in this one. It's just the same crap and different story. Also, before I forget to mention, if it sounds like I'm being harsh on these movies, I'm really not. I actually do like all of these movies. Every single one is a 3 out of 5 or more. Homecoming and Far From Home are both 3 out of 5s for me. So they're still good movies, just not my favorite. Coming in at number 6 is going to be Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3. So I remember when this movie first came out in 2007. I was really little, but I remember my dad watching it on DVD. He went and bought it like within the first few days of it coming out on DVD, and he put it on and we all watched it together. And up to that point, I had watched Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2, and at the time I really had a lot of fun with this, and I remember enjoying it quite a lot. And growing up, this was my favorite. I really adore the quirky humor with Bully Maguire and all the aspects. What I don't like about the movie is how stupid they make Peter Parker. Peter Parker is not a dumb character, and some people blame it on the symbiote. That's no excuse. The symbiote doesn't make you dumb, it makes you bold and mean, not an idiot. I mean, he blatantly kisses Gwen Stacy in front of Mary Jane. Mary Jane, by the way, a character I don't really care for either, but she is the best in the third one, and it's convoluted. You can just feel all the hands in the cookie jar. However, I actually do enjoy watching it, and I've always looked forward to watching it when I'm going through the Sam Raimi trilogy, and I still have a fun time with this. So this one is a 3.75 out of 5 for me. So this might be sacrilege, but coming in at number 5 for me is going to be Spider-Man, the 2002 film. Now, I absolutely adore this movie, and I grew up watching it probably the most out of the entire franchise up until the last probably 5-6 years. This movie will always have a special place in my heart, and it is probably the first comic book movie I ever watched. And it has some of the best early CGI and practical effects, and the only thing that holds it back for me is that there are so many scenes in this movie. There's great character development, and it's a great origin story, and nothing could ever take that away from it. And as a Sam Raimi fan, I expect and I adore the campiness of all of his movies, but the camp in this movie does hold it back quite a bit for me. And the more movies I watch, and the more I come back to this one to watch it, the issues pop up a lot more clear than they used to, and the rewatch value has dropped a tad, but I'm still very quick to turn it on when I want to watch a Spider-Man movie. Coming in at number 4 is going to be Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, my love for this movie has actually died down a little bit, but it took almost a year and a half from when it came out, and I saw it in theaters opening night on a Wednesday, not even a Thursday. I went on a Wednesday night with my friends and watched this movie. To this day, the best theater experience I ever had. My theater was louder than an Endgame, and I rode the high of seeing this movie and the recency bias of it. It chased me down for a year and plus. But with the last rewatch, the cons definitely showed heavier this time. There's a bunch of characters that feel foreign from their original films, and that had a lot of weight in it this time. I think the relationship between Peter and Aunt May is its strongest in this one, and the outcome of that relationship has a very heavy weight to me that when I saw it in theater, it didn't really affect me a whole lot. I was kind of numb in a weird sense. Not that it didn't bother me, it was just that I didn't know what to think. And what comes right after definitely made me forget everything that happened. But I absolutely adore all the nostalgia bait and the fan service. And people complain, call it cameo porn or cameo bait or whatever. But to me, it's really not. That every character that comes forward and is fan service in their intro are actually used and serve the story and help move the plot forward. And so I really appreciate everything that this film does, and I appreciate every film that came before it and how it helps this movie come up. Coming in at my number 3 is going to be The Amazing Spider-Man. Now, with process of elimination, you know what 2 movies are at my top, and do not judge me. So The Amazing Spider-Man, I remember when this movie was being shot and all the news that was coming out, and for the first time in my life, it was the first time I was actually hearing production news come out, and like news radios and stations and programs on the TV, Good Morning America, all of them were like announcing all these crazy things. It's kind of like the craze that the internet had whenever Spider-Man No Way Home was coming out and all the leaks. There weren't many leaks with this because the studio was actually like letting things out for marketing, but it was kind of that crazy. And I remember seeing my dad not being very into this situation that was happening. But when me and my family actually sat down and finally watched it when it came out, we really enjoyed it. We really liked this movie. And then over the years, I actually started hating this movie because, for one, I watched it way too much when I was little, and for two, I really missed Toby. And I really hated that as I got older, it kind of set in that I'm probably never going to see Tobey Maguire play Spider-Man ever again. And that really bothered me, and I kind of had this turmoil in me that I could not forgive this movie. And obviously I grew up and matured. That didn't bother me anymore. I started watching the movie for what it was, and this is actually a really good origin story. And I really adore Andrew Garfield and his portrayal of Spider-Man and Peter Parker, and the chemistry between him and Emma Stone, and back then they were really together, so obviously their chemistry is strong. But they had the best chemistry out of all the romance plots in every Spider-Man movie. This isn't rage bait. I genuinely really like The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is that almost every single movie below it, except for my bottom 2, are genuinely way better films than this, as far as story, as far as almost everything. And this movie, for me, is a 3.75 out of 5. Critically speaking. But my enjoyment level, watching it in theater when it first came out, continually growing up watching this movie, recently, literally yesterday, watching this movie again for the first time in a couple of years, and especially since No Way Home came out in 2021, there's a lot of things that I really genuinely love in this movie. Now, it is very packed and just stuffed, and I don't know how Sony made the same mistake twice.
How do you fuck that up!
With all the different villains in one, and again, you can see the production interference in this just as heavy as you could in Spider-Man 3. The production interference of setting up and making, I guess, trailers for what was supposed to be a Sinister Six and a crazy Spider-Man 3 movie that never came about because this movie failed in box office. This movie has a lot to like about it, from Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker's story, the ultimate death of Gwen Stacy in the end, building of Peter Parker as a character separate from Spider-Man, the struggle of Peter Parker and Spider-Man, the struggle between him and Gwen Stacy, and I mean, there's so much. Him and Aunt May, Peter has lost Gwen, and she's relating to him about that, you know, how they both lost their partner. He's sitting there watching the news and watching the world fall apart without Spider-Man. And she sees that. And so she takes this moment. She picks up a box of Ben stuff that she's done put in there over the years. And he's like, what are you doing? Is that Ben stuff? Why are you getting rid of it? And she's like, it's funny. The heavier the box is, the lighter I feel. And she goes on this really short monologue, but is letting him know, basically, if she was to come out and outright say it, she's like, hey, I know you're struggling. I'm dealing with this loss myself. But the more you let go, the better you feel. And you can always hold on to that person that you love. But it's okay. And also, this world needs Spider-Man. And it would help you if you got out there and did some good in the world instead of sitting here doing nothing and just sulking about it. Now, can talk all day about the whole Harry side plot and how goofy and cartoonish and almost satirical Jamie Foxx's Electro is, and which actually is way better in No Way Home. But this version of him, it was so stupid. And Peter trying to understand why his parents left him, that's interesting and definitely holds more weight in this one than it does the first movie. But it still like goes nowhere and eventually ends up with his dad recording a video that he somehow knew someone was going to find, and also snitches on himself and puts his son in danger by saying that Peter's blood is in the spiders. I get every single problem that everyone has with this movie, and I will not defend it from any of those problems because it definitely deserves the criticism that it gets, or most of it, not all of it, but most of it. I have so much fun with this movie, and that's really all I can say to justify, beside some of the best web swinging from Spider-Man you'll ever see, some of the best, it's a really good costume, Andrew Garfield's amazing, Emma Stone is amazing, action sequences are great, the color theme of this movie is fantastic. Like it's that pretty blue, sky blue lightning bolts, and I mean it's so colorfully compelling, and I just get hypnotized by it every time I watch it. And the 15 minutes of this film that genuinely suck, it doesn't hold it down enough for me. But coming in at number 1 for me is going to be Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. Now, growing up, I actually didn't like this one at all, and I thought it was really boring, and I thought it was way too dark and sad. But now that I'm older and I can actually understand the themes and the message of this movie, I thoroughly enjoy this, and to me, this is a perfect movie. It is in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. It is my favorite comic book movie of all time, and nothing will probably ever top it, ever. Of everything that Sam Raimi did, he literally had the film in the palm of his hands and did exactly everything that he wanted to do. There's so many great stories, character arcs and developments, and subplots that tie up pretty neatly. There's just so many amazing things about this, between the incredible train fight with him and Doc Ock, him losing his powers, but it's because he's losing himself, and the inner battle between Peter Parker and Spider-Man is very realistic. As funny as that is as how being Spider-Man can't be realistic, Tobey Maguire makes it very realistic in his performance. And that struggle with him and Mary Jane clearly want to be together, and they clearly just love each other so much and so deeply, but they can't be together, and it's because of Peter Parker, and he is scared that he is going to hurt her if they end up together. And he's telling her that, but she just doesn't understand because she doesn't know that he's Spider-Man, even though she kind of assumes maybe he is. She doesn't understand that. And you got the whole thing with him missing her play and she getting mad at him. And then there's many things I don't like about Mary Jane, is mainly in this movie. It actually works very well with the story and the tragedy of who Peter Parker is and that he's Spider-Man no more. And then and there's a lot of funny lines, and then you get the relief of him being Peter Parker and just not worrying about anything. And then, but when he becomes Spider-Man again, you got like him going into the fire and saving this kid, and you're like, heck yeah, Spider-Man's back. He is back. And then in the background, which is something I only noticed on this watch, as many times as I've watched this, the firefighters talking about how someone died on like the 5th or 6th floor or something. And the look of him saving somebody is completely just washed away in his face, because he realizes that, dang, even though I'm Spider-Man, even though I saved this kid, I can't save everybody in the world. The point in that character arc is that he is going to do everything that he physically can to try. And it's a wonderful story. Besides the superhero stuff, like I said, just great story, great characters, a great character arc for Spider-Man and Peter Parker. I don't think no matter what kind of Spider-Man movie comes out in the future, it could be the best movie ever made, and I seriously doubt it could ever top this one. So that is my ranking of all 8 films. What is yours? Please tell me in the comments, and let's all talk about it. I hope you enjoyed watching this video just as much as I enjoyed making it for you. You can follow me over on X, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook now. And also, I have a letterbox. You can also follow that as well. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and turn notification bells on. That way you know when I post. So join me down in the comments. What is your favorite Spider-Man movie? Again, give me all your list. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see all of you next time.